The Kid That Would Be King is directed by Joe Cornish. This is his second feature film, the long-awaited follow-up to his first film, Attack the Block, which is a great flick. It also brought the world John Boyega. And the film stars Louis Ashbourne Serkis, who is Andy Serkis's kid. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. And for the first chunk of this movie, I was really hopeful that it was going to be my favorite children's movie in a long time. It's just so charming and fun. Fun is a terrible word to use in a movie review. Entertaining, that's another bad one, I guess. But the movie's just charismatic as hell, and it's like a warm hug. It feels like the movies, I'm gonna sound like an old man, it feels like the movies they used to make. But something happens along the way, another movie where the third act doesn't quite live up to the first two. And this problem is more on a structural standpoint, where the movie seems to come to a conclusion where they have a confrontation with the main bad guy, bad girl in this case, bad woman. And she seems defeated and they go home and the film seems to be wrapping up, but it's a false ending. So an already long film, it's close to 2 hours for a children's movie that's long. An already long film feels longer because you have this false ending and it keeps going. For me, it led to a lot of running time checking, which didn't happen for the first hour and a half of this film. I was having a great time. I was really enjoying it. But that false ending really kills the pacing of the third act. And then as you think back throughout the film, you think of things that could be trimmed or cut out. And it's never good when you start editing a movie in your mind while you're watching it. Yeah, great film for about an hour and a half. I was really enjoying it, but it was fine. It just felt long and didn't really live up to the promise. Passengers stars Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence. They're both passengers on a colonization ship in space. There are several thousand passengers that are being shipped to a faraway planet with some crew, and everybody's in hyperbolic sleep to start the film. For some reason, Chris Pratt's hyperbolic chamber comes to life and wakes him up. He's the only one woken up out of the entire population of the ship. And he's woken up multiple decades early with the question of why. So he walks around the ship, he explores, he tries to make the best of his days. So Chris Pratt falls in love with Jennifer Lawrence's character, who is in the hyperbolic chamber. He does a bit of creepy research on her, watches videos of her, reads her papers, I believe. She's a scientist. And Chris Pratt sits there and contemplates for a very long time on if he should wake her up on purpose. And he does, because Jennifer Lawrence is in the movie. And then he plays it off as, oh, your pod must have malfunctioned too. We're on this ship. Let's make the best of it. And they start up a relationship. And of course, if you've seen any movies, you know that at some point she's going to find out the truth. And that's where this movie would have gotten very interesting if it had the conviction to stay with it. But it doesn't. It becomes a stupid action film. And by stupid, I mean it's predictable, all the story beats are obvious, you know what's gonna happen. Which sucks because this movie was heading down a very interesting corridor where it could have pondered all these questions of morality about what Chris Pratt did to Jennifer Lawrence. But it didn't do that at all. It decided, you know what, let's just blow some stuff up. Failed potential is what I'm going to think about when I think about Passengers. And how Andy Garcia must have the best agent in Hollywood. He got a main actor credit in this movie. He's in one shot. He has 0 lines of dialogue. I'm just reading an article about Andy Garcia's involvement in this film. Andy Garcia is actually in the trailer for this movie. The only shot he's in this movie is in the trailer. And the screenwriter says sticking this ending was one of the trickiest parts of the film. You didn't stick the landing, man. A girl walks home alone at night. I said all those words in order, right? Yeah, all right. Farsi language vampire movie? Vampire Western? It's not a genre I've seen before, obviously. Enjoyable film? A feminist piece. I enjoyed it. Feels like if Quentin Tarantino were to make a vampire film, at times there's a lot of music that kind of swells, modern music that swells, and you have these long shots of things happening. I don't want to give away any spoilers. This movie does surround a mysterious female vampire who meets a boy who's in a situation he's pretty much drowning in, and they have a relationship. It's a very stylistic piece. There's not a lot of dialogue. The director admitted she doesn't know Farsi, so she wrote it all phonetically, then had someone fully write out the dialogue, so there's just not a lot of dialogue in this film because of that. It does ooze its style, and that keeps it enjoyable. Some really compelling and fun shots in this movie, and the situations that they are in are compelling, even though they are admittedly underwritten. It's a bit of style over substance, but I did enjoy it.